Poveglia Island, Venice. Venice is famous for its lagoons and flooded streets. However, just off its coast is a tiny island that is definitely haunted. That is Poveglia. The townsfolk constructed the island as a quarantine outpost for Venetians who were living with the plague. According to legend, 50% of the soil is actually human remains. In its most recent past, a sanatorium was also opened on the island. Although it's now illegal for visitors to set foot on the island, Poveglia can still be seen from the shore.
Number 2, the Tower of London, UK. The Tower of London is one of the most haunted places in Britain. The fortress, which sits on the banks of the Thames, has a gravely bloody history. While these days it's a place to go to see the crown jewels, its torturous past still clings to its walls. Tower Green has seen more than its fair share of executions. During the Tudor reign of Henry VIII, traitors were sent to the tower to be beheaded. Those traitors included two of the king's wives, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard. Boleyn's ghost still haunts the place where she was executed, looking for her head.
Number 3, the Queen Mary Long Beach. Moored in the Long Beach docks is the RMS Queen Mary. She made her maiden voyage in 1936 and stayed in service for 30 years before docking in 1967. Over her time on the ocean, she amassed more than 50 deaths. It seems only natural then that some of those spirits are still roaming the halls. After topping plenty of top 10 haunted places lists, those in charge opened her up as a haunted hotel of sorts. Who knows what you'll see, especially if you stay in stateroom B340.
Number 4, Myrtles Plantation, Louisiana. You might have heard of the Myrtles Plantation before, especially if you love haunted locations. All of the greatest paranormal television shows have covered this historic pre-Civil War plantation, from ghost hunters to ghost adventures. Its ghosts have also been caught on camera, with the most famous photograph being of a slave girl named Chloe. Myrtles has a solid history, tainted by those who lived there during the home's heyday. One of the creepiest parts of the plantation is a ghostly mirror.
Number 5, Paris Catacombs, France. Paris is a hotbed of sprawling cemeteries that house the remains of famous souls from Jim Morrison to Baudelaire. There is, however, a darker side to Paris's dead. Originally, Paris had only one cemetery, Les Innocents, in the center of the city. However, with time and its increasing role as a European hub, the cemetery walls literally burst with the weight of all the bodies. After this, Paris had to figure out a place for its dead. That place was the catacombs. Beneath Paris, 200 miles of tunnels existed from limestone quarries that were used to build the city we know today. The bones of Les Innocents were shifted into the old quarries, where walls of remains can be seen and visited to this day.
Number 6, Isla de la Mucas, Mexico. Is there anything creepier than dolls? How about dolls that hang from trees? This place is a bus ride away from Mexico City. This disturbing island, called Island of the Dolls, actually has a point. Oquimilco in Mexico City suburbs was once the center of agriculture. According to legend, a young girl drowned in the lake. From there, a man named Don Julian Santana then dedicated his life to honoring this little lost girl. He left teddy bears and dolls on trees for her, and eventually they took over the whole island. In 2001, Santana then drowned in the same area as he was sure the little girl had. He left behind all the dolls that are said to contain the spirit of the girl, and maybe now also him.
Number 7, Stanley Hotel, Colorado. Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick fans will recognize the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, even if they don't realize it at first. The Stanley is a hotel that inspired one of King's most beloved books, The Shining. King and his wife Tabitha spent a night in the Stanley Hotel while they were staying in Boulder. It was the end of the season and the hotel was closing down for the winter, meaning the pair had the empty hallways and dining areas all to themselves. A massive empty hotel in the middle of nowhere? You can see how King might have been inspired. Not only that, but it's also reputedly one of the most haunted hotels in America.
Number 8, the Banff Springs Hotel, Canada. Banff Springs Hotel was built by the Canadian Pacific Railroad and is one of the earliest of Canada's Grand Railway hotels. It sits in the center of Banff National Park. This haunting castle-like hotel also has the ghost stories to go with its name. One of the hotel's most famous ghosts is a bride. Her story dates back to the roaring 1920s. A bride on her wedding day lost her footing and fell down the stairs. Since then, she's been seen by plenty of staff and visitors on the stairs, of which she died. Many say she's reliving those final moments in the wedding she never got to have. If you check into the Banff Springs, you might even get lucky and stay in one of the haunted rooms.
Number 9, Gettysburg Battlefield, Pennsylvania. The American Civil War is one of the bloodiest conflicts in history. It should then go without saying that its battlefields might be some of the most haunted places in America. Gettysburg was the turning point of the Civil War when the fall of the Confederacy became a realistic possibility. Visiting Gettysburg might surprise you, as if you ask anyone where the battlefield is, they'll say you're standing on it, and they aren't wrong. There are plenty of ghost stories that center around the actual battlefield, which is now part of the Gettysburg National Park, an area that is so rich in history, it's not surprising that there might be ghostly soldiers roaming the landscape.
Number 10, Leap Castle, Ireland. To experience a real castle, you should go to Europe. Leap Castle in Ireland is one of those real castles. Its haunting history also precedes its reputation. Leap Castle, pronounced Lep, is the most haunted castle in the world and one of Ireland's most haunted places to go. Built over the top of land that was previously occupied by Druids, the castle has darker stories than we probably would ever want to know. In the 20th century, an oubliette filled with human skeletons was discovered in the chapel walls. Could these be the ghosts that haunt its halls?
Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button or click on the frog icon on the video. Don't forget to click the bell to get notified of our future videos. And of course, please click on the thumbs up.
And remember, stay young and have fun.